Gail Marlene Schwartz. Gail was a member of this congregation many years ago before she moved back to the United States. She currently lives in Montreal, Vermont. We are excited she is here to share with us excerpts from her latest book, which is Beside the Flowers, Falling Through the Night, a story about Audrey Meyerowitz, a queer 30-something insomniac who wants to fall in love and have a family. Through online dating, immigrating to Canada, and having a baby with Down syndrome, she struggles and grows. But when Audrey unearths a secret about her mother, everything about her identity as a mother, a daughter, and a person with mental illness ruptures. Welcome back, Gail.
Thank you, Melissa. For those of you at home, I am a tall woman, white woman in my 50s with shoulder-length, reddish, curly hair. This is chapter 1. I'm lying in bed alone, staring at the water stain on the ceiling, the same one that's been there since I rented my place 9 months ago. Squinting at it, I play Rorschach, and a new shape emerges, a sperm. I stand and open the black eclipse curtains, the same ones that used to hang in my childhood bedroom, the first thing I'd packed when I left home. I touch the back of the left curtain panel. Flipping it over, I grin at the familiar army of faces, all glaring up at me. Each has a unique shape, some with scrunched eyebrows, others with jagged frowns, all hideously angry. My eyes fall on the first one I created at the beginning of 7th grade when I was first diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. Having an aide at school meant whispers and giggles and pointing, which soon turned dark and terrifying. Each day after school, I'd hole up in my room and use a different color Sharpie to draw one face on the white backing of the curtains. I snuck in a stepladder to reach the top. By the end of 7th grade, the faces formed complete borders around all 4 sides of each panel. My phone pings, notification. December 4th, 2018, Healthy Family Project, Step 1. Fingertips press into neck, pushing for softness where there is none. What's the first step to creating a healthy family? Thank you for making me feel so welcome. Being here today is especially meaningful because this community was once a place of loving connection for me. And I actually think that loving connection is the magic ingredient to changing our relationship with the dark night, to learn to let go and to meet what we're most afraid of head on. In my novel, Falling Through the Night, Audrey, a woman living in Vermont who is an adopted insomniac with generalized anxiety disorder, has very particular struggles. Her dream is a healthy family of her own, and up until the first chapter of the book, Audrey's dark night has always prevented any possibility of fulfilling this dream. That dark night is her past, her dysfunctional patterns, her adoption grief, her sleeplessness, her very particular traumas. But she isn't unique. Even if we don't share any of Audrey's struggles, she is us and we are her. Human life happens in both day and night. None of us can escape the literal or the metaphorical night. Try as most of us do. So what helps us through? What helps us embrace what we would much rather avoid? What helps us see that we do have what it takes to face what's most painful? I believe with all my heart that is loving connection. And for Audrey, this begins with her friendship with Jessica, her best friend from the wellness program they've both just finished. Jessica gets Audrey out of her comfort zone and even makes Audrey a profile on shelovesher.com. And Jess tells Audrey that, yes, Audrey, you're desperate enough to try online dating. She doesn't mince words, Jessica, but the words have a very loving purpose. So Audrey posts her profile and meets Denise, a woman from Montreal, and she's smitten. But after 3 great phone conversations, Audrey asks Denise out, and Denise tells Audrey she's busy. So Audrey goes over to Jessica's place, and here's an excerpt from the novel. It's raining, so we decide to watch Jurassic Park for the 14th time, and make Hawaiian pizza and chocolate milkshakes. I mix the flour and water, and Jess chops the pineapple and ham. It's almost enough to distract me from thinking about Denise. Everything was going great until I told her about my rich emotional life. I'm sure she figured it out. I'm such an idiot. I stick my hands in the bowl and start mushing. Maybe she's going out with another woman from the ad. Maybe she met that woman first. Jess pops a piece of pineapple in her mouth. How could it not be a rejection? I asked her out, she said no. If you're interested, you say you're busy. You say, not now, but how about next weekend? If you're interested, you say what you're doing, like you're taking your Aunt Matilda to the insect museum, or you have to go watch your niece's miniature horse competition. But if you have a date, you say you're busy. She said she was busy. You're killing my fun, Meyerowitz, says Jess, as she puts the chopped ham and pineapple on the counter and starts shredding the cheese. We get the food made and eat and scream and cuddle up with the blanket. I do my best to push Denise into the recesses of my mind. I take my evening medication with the milkshake. Are those the new ones? Yeah, but it could be 2 weeks before I feel anything. We stare at the screen as the guy on the toilet gets eaten by the T-Rex. Before I leave, I remember that the next week, the last week in June, is the second anniversary of Jess's brother Max's death. So, are you doing anything with your family on Tuesday? I try to sound casual, unobtrusive. Jess gets up and starts clearing dishes. I wanted to go to the gravesite altogether. Christopher's flying in, but just for one night because he has back-to-back shows the next day. She rinses her plate for way too long. I get up and bring in the cups and napkins. Well, how about your dad? I grab the sponge and start wiping down the counter. He's got 2 pregnant cows who could give birth any minute now, so he probably won't make it. If Dad doesn't need her, Eve could come, but of course Mom, well, being Mom, she hasn't returned any of my calls for at least a month. I try to catch Jess's eye and see her expression, but she won't look at me. Is there anything I can do? Jess picks up the last slice of pizza. Well, you could come over and make my bath and read me Ramona the Brave like last year. She stuffs the triangle into her mouth with her head tilted back, a little piece of ham dangling near her chin. I can't help smiling. Ramona, Bubbles, whatever you want, I'll be there. That'd be good, Meyerowitz. Her words are barely coherent through the chewed pizza. She gives me a tiny smile, first with mouth closed, then wide open. I shriek and chase her around the island, wielding a deadly pizza crust. Audrey and Jessica nurture one another. They are stars in one another's darkest night. Audrey and Denise eventually do go on a date, and they fall in love. The novel goes on, they get married, Audrey immigrates, moves to Montreal, and she gets pregnant. Things are looking brighter, and then they get some news. This is the second excerpt. The doctor calls 2 weeks later with the results of the amnio. Baby B has Down syndrome. The waiting is over. I spend the day with Denise. We cry, we hold each other as we wander around the house. I look for something to fill myself with: flax toast with peanut butter, semi-sweet chocolate morsels, Lucky Charms cereal with rice milk, a Granny Smith apple, some cheddar. The gaping hole remains in the depths of my pregnant belly. In the evening, I make the mistake of calling Mom. She listens silently for a moment before speaking. You'll learn how to parent them. Down's children are lovely. Remember Jenny? There's a pause. We're still figuring things out, Mom. I hang up quietly and lie down on the couch, and I stay there, staring at the window until morning, when the sun rises over the row houses in Rosemont. We talk at breakfast before Denise leaves for work the next morning. We know down deep that we cannot provide for baby B. My anxiety and career are reason enough. I don't even have to face my initial shame. I float out further and further from my tribe. I'm too broken to manage others' reactions, judgments, even their clumsy kind offers of, is there anything I can do? I write Mom an email to tell her that we've decided to give baby B up for adoption. I spend more and more time in bed. Quietness, emptiness, agony. My belly pushes out more and more, and I sleep in short spurts. My maternity pants keep falling down, and I can't walk to the corner without feeling breathless. No word from Mom. We find out baby A is a boy, baby B a girl. We decide to name them. Baby A is Adam, our son, baby B, Brianna. We use their hospital initials to honor their time as twins, kicking, elbowing, and hiccuping inside me. Jessica and I chat, but she's quiet about her relationship drama. I want to be there for you, Odds. This is really heavy stuff. I love you, Jess, and what you're going through is just as important. She smiles. Another time. Claire and Sabrina host a baby ritual for us. Patty and Marae came, and Mimi, even Jessica. Sabrina tells me she's invited my mom, but she didn't hear anything back. I say nothing. The celebration is a flurry of color and sound, poems in French and English, gifts. We open tiny red overalls, a ladybug teething toy, lime green pajamas with purple puppies. Our friends bless us, feed us, drum for us. Jessica crouches down, puts her mouth to my belly, and softly sings "The Wind" to the babies. Each friend ties one delicate red thread on our wrists, representing one wish as new parents: humor, patience, compassion, humility, appreciation, trust. When we look at the bracelets, they explain, we'll remember that we're not alone. Then they toast us with sparkling purple juice. After we drink, each woman kisses us, first me, then Denise. I notice the warm, grapey smell on their breath, and a few of them whisper words I love and can't quite understand. Now it's not only Jessica, Audrey has Denise and their friends in spite of her mother's rejection. All of this love works its magic on our heroine. And by the last quarter of the novel, she understands the power of moving directly into the painful experiences. When she loses her close friend Sabrina, at first she can't feel her pain. Wanting to be a comfort to Sabrina's partner Claire, Audrey hurls herself headfirst into creating a collage to memorialize Sabrina and the times that they shared with their group of friends. This drive to love and support Claire is what ends up connecting Audrey to her own sadness, which is what she needs to move forward. The creative process becomes the vehicle for Audrey to return to herself, and this is the last excerpt. Sleep is scarce, and I'm often in my studio when the night is heaviest at 1 or 2 in the morning. One night, I'm roaming the kitchen, foraging. I open the armoire, looking for some Life cereal, and there I find the box of teas from Costa Rica in that exquisite packaging. Yes. I take the box up to my studio, the skin around my mouth loosening. The next day, after client appointments, I remove the tea leaves from each metal canister and start fiddling. I jot down notes, measure the circumference of the circle slots and canisters. Sweat runs down my temples, and my throat is tight. The next night, after Denise is asleep, I go back into the studio, sinuses pounding. I sort through my photo files on the computer. I choose 30 shots of our friend gatherings and print them out. I cut the photos, place them inside the box. And when I leave to go to bed, I'm clutching my stomach. Weeks pass, and one night, after Denise and I finish the dishes, I go back into my studio. Breathing is more and more labored as I hand-scratch memories on pieces of paper. I suck in air as I cut one out, roll it tightly into a scroll, tuck it into one of the 9 holes in the cardboard that covers the bottom. I do 4 until I'm coughing and gasping and have to get out my yoga mat and stretch for an hour to declench. Over the holidays, I make handmade paper from photo scraps mixed with dried flowers and dye from berries, turmeric, beets. In January, once the paper's dry and set, I tear it up and start gluing the torn pieces onto the top of the cover. I keep looking at it throughout the winter. I keep embellishing and embellishing, glue, acrylic, glitter, stamps, pastels. My stomach continues to rebel. The project's momentum pulls me into a swirl of pain and resentment, love and anger, compassion, confusion, self-hatred, and a yearning for wholeness. One night after working, a burst of nausea pummels me into the bathroom where I almost missed the toilet. But I push myself, often staying up until 2 or 3 a.m., tears slowly replacing physical anguish. In early March, my body regains its strength while my psyche becomes distorted, full of severe noise like an MRI or a rave. The more intricately beautiful the piece becomes, the more desperately sad I feel. The second it's done, the box seems to take on a life of its own. Turquoise paint dances with black inked roses, salmon and brick red crayon swirls, bits of white handmade paper ripped in diamond shapes, strips, a spiral. A tiny stamped purple heart punctuates the lower right-hand corner of the box's cover. The scrolls are like portals, revealing bits of photos beneath them. I hold the box, stroke my fingers along its sides, open and close the top repeatedly, read the scrolls, put them back. Finally, I get the project wrapped, address it to Claire, and mail it the Thursday before Easter. I come home to an empty house, walk up to Adam's room, grab the container of Lincoln logs, dump them on the floor. I take each of the logs and make a giant circle. I lie down in the middle on my side, curled up, and there I begin to heal. Without one another, without love, the dark night is simply terrifying. With love, it can be so much more. With love, it can become the path to our souls. Thank you. Chapter 87. I crawl into bed and cuddle up next to Denise, who's already asleep. I open the nightstand's little drawer to put away my wedding ring for the night, and I glance at my new Canadian passport and my old red thread bracelet from the baby shower. It's bunched and bald, but still with me since the ritual with my old friends, the night that connection enveloped me, pushing away the drifting. Under the passport is my favorite photo of Jessica and me at Pride the summer before I met Denise. She'd just cut her hair, and half of her head looked like a dandelion gone to seed. I tucked the bracelet and photo inside the passport, put them in the drawer, and slide it closed. I turn out my light and close my eyes. Later, Adam crawls into bed with us, adding his nasal breathing to the sleeping sounds. It's postmodern jazz, better than Mozart or Monk, wind or waves, the call of loons on Lake Eden. Mira sighs, and Lido jumps up and curls into a ball at our feet. I remember Sarah and her song and my old name, Delta, as I slip into sleep and join the quartet.